and welcome to our fourth onboarding session. And today we're going to be covering an important issue, which is how to create a live event in the metaverse, which is quite an important theme. So we are going to be talking about which are the settings that we have to prepare, the connections, and the different channels that we use, and how to coordinate all that in order to have live events in our auditorium, which again is one of the key pieces for any event. And to do so, we have again the amazing help of Joshua, who has been preparing a presentation for all of us. And also, I would like to remind you that all this content has been already recorded in 3 different videos that have been already uploaded in your backend. So you will have on one hand a short video on how to set up Zoom to create a webinar or event on the platform, a second video to see how you can add videos from either YouTube, Vimeo, or Facebook into our smart venues, and 3, how to create and establish the connection between Facebook and the auditorium in order to place the live event there, okay? And after Joshua's presentation, we'll go, I want to share with you also a very basic, but I think useful template or a form just for you to fill it out or share with your potential clients and to know exactly what type of event they are planning to run. So that way you will be better prepared to establish the services and the support that they may need, okay? So let's go first with Joshua's presentation, and let's learn how to use the Zoom and other platforms. Joshua.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfectly.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Marta. Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here for another onboarding session. This time around, I'm going to show you 3 key things. The first one being a brief presentation on how to create a Zoom event/webinar and manage it. Just for you to know, I'm going to be mostly using the word webinar during this presentation since that's how Zoom calls it. So, the second thing will be how to connect your webinar with Facebook. Why is it important that you know how to do this? Well, that's because, as you may remember, we currently support 3 sources of videos or live stream in the venues, those being YouTube, Facebook, and Vimeo. Our dev team is already working on bringing more options to make it easy for you, but for the meantime, if you want to display a live stream in the auditorium of your event, you must use one of these options. Hence, me showing you how to do it via Facebook. And for last, we have a quick demonstration on how to get the insertion link of a video or a live stream for each of the 3 sources that I just mentioned. Okay, let's begin. First things first, you'll need to log in with your Zoom account. And you'll see a left side menu with multiple options, but the one that you're interested in is in the one that says webinars. Click it, and you'll be redirected to the webinars dashboard. To create a new webinar, click on the schedule a webinar button on the right. Okay, once you've done that, the first information you'll be asked for is the topic or title of your webinar and the description. So basically, what is your webinar about? Next, you have the date and the time of start of your webinar, and the duration of said webinar. And for last, we have the time zone. This one is very important because, as you may assume, the date and time is directly related to that time zone. So that's up to you when you decide to want to start your event. In the next section, we have some configurations related to the authentication of participants. We recommend that you activate the following. First, we have the registration option. You should activate this one if you want your participants to first register themselves if they want to get in the webinar. Next, we have the authentication option. You should activate these ones if you want to demand your panelists and participants to be logged in to your Zoom account, to their Zoom account that they previously registered to be able to join the webinar. Next, we have the webinar passcode. If you enable this option, you'll be able to create a passcode that must be entered when anyone wants to connect to your webinar. And next, we have the video options. You can select on or off, depending if you want every participant of the webinar to be able to activate their webcam. And for last, in this section, we have the audio. Here you can manage what your participants will need to use to be able to hear with the webinar. We recommend that you choose the both option so you can give a choice to your participants and you don't have any trouble with the audio. The next section is for the interactivity. We recommend that you activate the following: the Q&A, if you want the participants of your webinar to be able to ask questions. The practice session, so you can access your webinar early and test if everything is all right. This option is important, and I'll tell you why a little bit later. Automatically record if you want to record your session, so you can create content after it's finished. Here you also have to decide where you want to store that recording. We suggest that you make use of the Zoom Cloud. And the last option is the alternative host. So here you can add emails of the panelists that also are going to be hosting the webinar. This is useful if they want to, for example, as I'm doing right now, sharing my screen. To finish with the creation, you have to click on the blue Save button. Okay, now that you have already created your webinar, you'll be redirected to a page where you can see a brief summary of, and you can also further manage it by scrolling down and finding this horizontal menu where you can manage the invitations in case you enable them, the send emails and reminders to the participants of the webinar, and add logos and banners for your webinar, and create polls, surveys, Q&As, so the participants can interact during the webinar. And that will be it. You successfully created your Zoom webinar. Now, for the connection with the Facebook, what you'll need is to be connected to the webinar using the Zoom app. So, as I said, the practice session option is very important. So you can enter your webinar, the brief period before, so you can make this connection. So as I was saying, once you're inside the webinar, you have to click on the More option in the bottom menu, then click Live on Facebook. Once you've done that, you'll be redirected to Facebook, where you have to log in with your credentials, or click on Continue As if you are already logged in. The next step is to give permissions to Zoom to post content on your behalf in your profile, and choose who can see that content. We suggest that you can leave it as public, but you can always change it to private. So that's up to you. The next step is to select and give permission to Zoom to the Facebook pages that you manage, so it can publish the live stream on those pages. Now, with all the permissions granted, you'll have to complete the title and description of your live stream. You can just copy and paste whatever title and description you chose for your Zoom webinar. And you have to choose where you want to publish that live stream. It could be in your own timeline or on a Facebook page that you manage. That's why you gave permission previously. And for last, who should see it? You can select between public and private. You click on this blue button that says connect me, and voila. Zoom will start the live stream where you previously chose. Now you only need to get the insertion link of that live stream, so you can display it in the auditorium of your smart venue. If you don't know how to do that, don't worry, I'm going to make a demonstration right now. Let me reshare my screen. Okay, so for Facebook, you have to go to the Facebook live stream or video that you want and look for the icon with 3 dots or the share option. So you click on the button with the 3 dots and you look for the embed option. Click on it and you copy all this code, and you can, quick tip, you can open a notepad, paste all this information, and what you'll need to get from here is, let me show you. So starting from this first quote up until this one right here, just before the with word.
It doesn't show up, Joshua, your mouse.
Oh, it doesn't show up?
No.
Oh, let me see. Now?
Yes, now it's perfect.
No? Okay. Okay. Let me show you that again. Okay, so from this quote to where it closes, just before the with. So everything that's inside those quotes, you copy that, then you go back to your backend, and in your live event, you paste the URL right here. Always making sure that you have Facebook as the source. Okay, so you click on save, and that will be it. Now for Vimeo, we do the same. We go to the Vimeo video that we want. Click on the share option, and you'll need to get from this quotation to this one. So I'm going to copy all this code first and do the same thing with Facebook that I just did with Facebook. That's to paste it so it can be easier to copy. So all this just before the word with. We go back to our backend and paste it right here with Vimeo as source. And the last one that is for YouTube. I already showed you this one, but I'm just going to make a quick reminder how to do it. So you go to the video that you want in YouTube and click on the share option. This one is more easier since it just displays a pop-up window with the code that you want, with the link. So you copy this, you paste it with YouTube as a source, and that's it. That's it for the presentation, and I'll give the floor back to Marta.
Marta, one question.
Sure, go ahead.
One question. Joshua, did you, in your example, did you show us how to set up several live events, or is it one live event on 3 different platforms?
Sorry, I didn't quite get that. Can you repeat that?
Well, okay, you showed us Vimeo. So the presentation of a webinar on Vimeo, right?
Correct.
One on Facebook.
That's right.
and the other one was on Zoom. Why?
Correct. And on Facebook, yes, via Facebook, but on Zoom.
I'm just asking myself, if let's say I'm a company, I'm an HR department, I want to show a live event.
Yes.
I would only use one video platform and try to distribute that player on various platforms like Facebook, etc. Zoom, let's say it's Zoom, but the Zoom I can integrate into Facebook and I can post it on other platforms. So
yes.
So far from my understanding, I think this is too much integration of different platforms for one and the same event. Is that right? Or did I misunderstood this?
I think I can answer that, Cameron.
Yeah.
What you saw is the potential to do it through multiple platforms. So the same event that you can, because there's people who use Vimeo. We had the case, we integrated Vimeo because it was a client who said, hey, I only use video for my live events. I need you to integrate Vimeo so that you can distribute Vimeo through the platform. And so we integrated Vimeo. Then we had a need to distribute not only on our platform, but also on Facebook in order to get some audience. So we linked, we do the event in Zoom. That is the let's say the source. And then from Zoom, you start distributing. We are looking into doing a direct Zoom into, and I don't know if you showed that now, Jonathan, because I was, sorry, Joshua, I got disconnected. But there's, there's a route to do a direct Zoom integration into the Eveland platform that requires you to insert so that you do, say you use Zoom all the time. So you only do it once, and from there on it starts working automatically. But we need to, we need to do the flow so that we can show everybody how to do it, because it requires a certain level of expertise.
Okay, got it. Another question would be, wouldn't it make more sense to integrate this setup of let's say a Zoom webinar, a video content, or Facebook into Eveland? Because as far as I have understood, I have my Eveland content management system, and then to set everything up for a video conference or webinar or whatever, I have to switch to Zoom or Facebook, etc., to set it up. Is it not possible to do this through an API, for example, and integrate the whole setup process for video in Eveland?
So that we do away with the Zoom, so we provide directly the video. There is a way to do it, but it's not inexpensive right now.
I just want to.
Also, you have to consider what companies are using, right? So are we going to be a substitute for their video meeting content and give you the flexibility that a Zoom or some other platforms have come out lately that have higher content quality for professional different types of content? So, I don't know if we're going to get there anytime soon.
Sorry to interrupt. Maybe I did not express it well enough. I'm just asking for, I don't want to switch from Eveland to Zoom or to Facebook, etc. I want to do everything from one content management system. And this is the reason why I would ask for setting up a Zoom video from Eveland.
Okay, I understood it. Okay.
Content
Okay, I
management
understand what you're saying.
through-
So that you can launch
through-
the actual meeting without having to go to Zoom through an API. You launch the meeting like you would do now.
Exactly. I
Okay.
would, the API would help me to integrate the Zoom stuff into Eveland.
That's a good point. Yes. Okay. We'll look into it. Please take note for the development team. And so any other questions regarding that? No?
No.
Scott is on the line, right? Scott, you there?
I am here.
Oh, good to see you.
Good morning.
Cameron Huss, and by the way, I'm also talking on the side with the other owners who haven't been able to be here. We're having discussions like George Levy, obviously, who you very well know, Cameron, and you need to meet Scott and Joao and other members of your network as well. And getting all this input, right? And Scott has made one input, which we are seriously considering, and is to put out the next batch of venues. So we have 10,000. We've given out about 100 and something. We've sold and located about 100 and something. Now we're going to go to the next stage, and that would be for you to be able to mint your city. In other words, that through looking at the domain model where and actually that's when today, if you put your domain in Eveland, you block that domain. So nobody else can use your own same domain, but we're considering doing so that you can actually own a specific city. And we're talking about the top 600 cities in the world are about above 1 million people in inhabitants. So our next collection, we're considering putting it out as as that. What do you think?
Yeah.
From your perspective.
So it's about registering our city's name, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
As a URL within Eveland.
Yeah. Makes absolutely sense. Definitely. I will work on this, write this call, and after this call.
Good. Okay. So I know you're thinking about Germany as well. So, and Scott is thinking about Canada, and Joao is thinking about Portugal. And yeah, so, and we are here in Spain. So I think that starts making a lot of sense, and we can, put out our next collection, let's say of 600 venues, so that you can mint your city, and we will let you, right, obviously, choose whichever cities you want right now from the venues that you own. And if there's a different category, we can fix it. So, that was a question I had. I'm glad you like it. And Scott, I'm sure you're happy with the
Yeah, it was good that
With-
Cameron said that. I called him
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
gave him I called him up and offered him one of my bronze venues if he said that.
Exactly. Get the NFT.
No, but it
also.
makes absolute sense. It's just about how do we deploy it? How do we create that sense of urgency? And I think also, how do we provide, and this was Scott's very important point, how do we provide a better footing for a secondary market? And how do we manage that creation of a secondary market? Because if cities, now you own the city as a URL, and then you have your venue, obviously, within that city, then you've got a more unique asset
Right.
than just
So
a venue.
let me just share with you what they do in the domain business, because figure out your .xyz, and you've got everything from a single letter, a.xyz, AA, and so on, up to 64 characters or whatever it is on the left of the dot. Can you imagine the amount of time, effort, and work that goes into trying to determine, number one, how do you, so if you're just dealing with English, for example, how do you determine the value of diamond.xyz versus, I'm going to go skip rope.xyz. Okay. So there are tons and tons of work that goes into pricing these things. Okay. There's a pricing strategy, there's a distribution strategy. So there's an awful lot of work that can go into that. So if I understand, you're in business to make money. You want to maximize the amount of money you can get for any city venue, right? And this is why I was really driving for the one I want in Canada, is because we need, I think there's certain things we can do. So there's a small city in central British Columbia called Kelowna. We could probably sell that. I'm picking numbers here, so don't hold me, for $3,000 or $5,000 or whatever the number is going to be, and be able to let them go in and start developing right away. And they will find more questions. They will go in and do it where what Cameron and I are doing and others are doing is testing kicking the tires, testing the software, and finding inconsistencies or improvements, etc. So there is, and I'm happy to chat with you, offline about that, Rafael, but there is a different way to look at this and to price the assets. Particularly if you're still in your seed round, if you're looking to raise capital, somebody bought, Washington, D.C. for 10 grand or something like that, it can start to help to fuel that fire. The network that I'm dealing with in Vancouver is starting to grow exponentially, the WRN. And there are people that are coming on there that I think would be greatly interested in perhaps buying Canadian venues. So, and again, that generates more cash flow, generates the opportunity to make improvements in the back end and incorporate, I know you guys got these done out in sprints, I would assume, and to have a more predictable nature of the sprints and when things are being developed. So
yeah, that is fantastic. And just to give you some bit of news about features coming up, very, very, very important features coming up. And we are in the process of integrating a payment gateway for both crypto and fiat with a full KYC capability, so that we can do direct to direct sales and offer that as a service as well within the Evelyn platform. Okay, right. So remember that a lot of what it's in the back is the system with which we have built and are connected into Evelyn. The ERC20, the NFTs, the 1155s, 721s. So really, I know you're a blockchain expert, Cameron. Think about how do you use all the tools that you learned now are in your hands with very little investment, and think about that from a third party. So that's why we also spoke about that bridge between Web 2 and Web 3, right? And just to give you an idea, we're in the works in China with a cat community, a community of cats, right? And they want to create a cat verse, right? For them to interact, and they're considering us because of our ease of use. Why? Because 95% of the cat users are not on Web3. Right. So it's a great opportunity for us to onboard people onto Web3 with a very easy platform accessible from everywhere. So let's work on improving it. Let's, I love what you're doing, and we're all ears. So let's.
What we really want to do at the end of the day is make that customer journey as seamless as possible. I've talked with an event coordinator that actually is from Six Nations, our home reserve, and she actually attended an onboarding session with Busteros that Lourdes and one of her other colleagues put on. And if you take somebody like that who's in the event management business, and they can walk through this, fairly easily, without having to, if they went through all of the documentation and the tutorials, they should be able to go and create this event. All right. So we've just got to reduce that friction. If we reduce the friction and people can, and this is where, again, with the domain thing, the first thing I talked about Vancouver is, and I told the guys I own Vancouver, goes, you got Vancouver? Wow. So it's that type of thing that,
Yeah, it gives a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
And I think it gives us a very, very strong position to be out there because we're selling an asset. So we're selling both things. We're selling a URL, so we're selling a destination, and we're selling an asset under that destination. Okay, so let's go do it. And you know, we're here to help you, and obviously you're helping tremendously us in understanding how to better make it a viable tool. So Cameron, let me know when are you available to sit down with us. You know, I'm open, so just, you know, today, tomorrow, you know, we're both on European time, so we can do mornings as well. So let me know when you have an opening, and I'll be happy to you know, go together. If we want the team from America, we need to do it in the afternoon, but we could always record it and have them follow up.
We work 24/7 here, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. We are.
Yeah.
Marta, sorry.
Okay, yes,
we took
thank
over.
you.
Please.
So before we finish, I would like to share with you like an additional tool. It's quite simple, but I think it's also helpful to get on the first side a complete idea on the type and dimension of the event that either you yourself or a potential client has in mind to organize and develop. So it's just a template that we put together. It will be uploaded also in your backend, and it will provide you, as I said, basic information, like, of course, title of the event. As you have the title, you will have what it's about. Important, how long it's going to last. It has nothing to do to say that it's a one-day event compared to 1 week. In terms of everything, content creation, support, and other aspects. Important to us, what is the main focus of your event? As we asked you before, are we going to be focused on business, or is this more creative, or is just a social gathering like the family regrouping that we are organizing in one of the metaverse, etc. We will ask also if the event is going to be 100% online or hybrid, if 50 and 50 is important to know also. The language, of course, English, Spanish, French, German, or several languages at the same time. It will complicate a little bit, but it's important also to know. The issue of the sponsors, why the sponsors are important, because usually they come together with the management and setup of the stands that we explained before, how you can do it, how you can provide a third person to the power to manage it. And again, how many sponsors the person is expecting to have, from less than 10 to more than 40, because the extra services will come together with a number. And of course, it's important to find out since the beginning how many attendees they are expecting to get, roughly, because once again, one thing is to have a one-day event with less than 100 people, or to have in mind a huge event, international, several languages, that hopefully will attract more than 1,000, okay? Will the event be free? As we said before, the registration process will be totally different from being free to creating the codes and all the processes to make it restriction, right, to the people that you want to be participating. And who is going to be managing the event? You will do it on your own. You are going to rely on IFLAN, for instance, for all the management, or you have, for example, an agent event company that is going to do it on your behalf. That's also important to know beforehand. And then we will ask other event details, such as how they are planning to use the galleries. The galleries, as you know, they are focused on the visual impact, whether are images, art, or other collections. So it's important to know if they are planning to have 1 or 2 or 3, and how many pieces do we need to create and prepare to display in the galleries. And finally, who is going to be running? I mean, if exactly what we were presenting today, the live sessions, right? If you are planning to have just one in the auditorium, or you are planning to have several, how is going to be the connection? Exactly, so important to specify the platform that you are planning to use apart from Zoom, if the links are coming from Vimeo, YouTube, or Facebook, or any other. Finally, remember that we shared with you, like it was the case of a bank, that they decided to share in the auditorium lots of content as videos, but all the videos were pre-recorded and they were not live videos. So it's important also to know that aspect. Finally, I think it's crucial to ask the additional services that they may need, whether it is design, logistics, content development, marketing, or others. We keep working on the list of services that we shared with you last time. And the only thing missing is the prices, the fees, based on the time, the hours that we will need to invest to develop those services. And that's it. This is basically, as you say, as you can see, it's a basic content. But on the other hand, important to have with you before you start either organizing or providing the services to your potential clients.
Yeah. One question, the last point, referring to the last point.
Yeah.
What do you mean by logistics?
Well, logistics has to do with logistics, for instance, with how to contact speakers, logistics for the whole event in terms of the timing, the setup of all the different sections. So those are basically logistics.
Mm-hmm. And content development is probably creating banners or whatever, right?
Yeah, content is exactly content. Everything, every piece of information that you are sharing on the platform, the venue, or that you are creating to share afterwards with your targeted audiences. So everything that has to do with content. Some of them.
You could.
Sorry.
Maybe you could add another point that I already mentioned in the beginning, and this could be content management. And content management refers to the service to set up a venue or whatever, or support in setting it up. Or is it covered by another point?
Yeah, that's exactly the question that is implied in the, if you can go up, Joshua, in the question that says who is going to manage your platform. Is going to be you, is going to be Iflan, or a company. So in that management services is included everything, which is the ongoing support and maintenance and management of the event all along the venue, all along the event. But we can specify in that.
Yeah, because managing the event would be, or from my understanding, would be the event. Not sure. When I read this, who would manage the event, I would think, is it a real physical event we are talking about, or because?
Okay, this is, for instance, we had, as we mentioned, I think last time, we had a client that approached us, and it was a company that they wanted to create in 2 days, 3 days, a whole event, right? And they said, we have no platform, don't know anything, but we will provide you all the content and you do it on our behalf. And we did it from 0 to 10. So that will be, and later on, you can also be backstage dealing with the uploading, the connections, the streaming, providing access. So it's the two parts, the organization itself and the management during the event, while the event is taking place. Yeah, so you can say, no, I don't want to do anything. I just provide you contents, logo, pictures, and you do it. That will be in terms of content, or it can be also, no, you also manage the whole thing, again, from connections to registration, to ticketing, to streaming. So those are the two sides of the management.
Okay, content management from my perspective would be setting up the venue or setting up the auditorium and all other rooms that belong to the event in Ifland. If this is hidden in who will manage the event, okay. From my understanding, this is just one part and not the whole thing.
Yeah, remember also that this form is meant to be like an initial way of establishing contact with your client, meaning just to give you, rough information. Okay, here we have a client that basically is relying 100% on us, whether it's you or Evelyn, or it's a client that knows pretty well what they want, and the only thing they need is A, B, and C. So it's basically to give you that type of approach, okay?
Okay.
It doesn't mean, we are not intended to include everything in the template, because otherwise it will be maybe too exhaustive.
Yeah.
But we can add a couple of things if you think that those are meaningful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Martha,
Yes.
has there been any thought about, I posted a link in the chat. Has there been any thought to giving open-ended questions? So for example, on a post-user survey, how did you feel about this event? Well, I liked it, or I didn't like it, etc. Or what was your favorite booth? I really liked the Pepsi booth, and things like that. So people give you how they feel. And so those statistics, can drive a lot of insight into your customers as well. So I know the owner of Heartbeat and worked with them before. I think they now, and it's been a while though, I think they now have a place where you can integrate an API and integrate it right into this type of survey.
Yeah,
but what
actually,
it does is it gives you, as Evelyn or as the venue owner, it gives the advertisers and sponsors a much better look into how his customers feel. So the sensitive analysis.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree, because I think it's important to spend time after everything is done and go a little bit deeper in finding out, as you said, right, which is the emotional part, but also the feeling, how they felt, how, things that we could improve, but more from that personal perspective. And I think that, I think we can, we have tried in the past to do a little bit once the event was over and we were preparing the analytics for the client, like going inside and checking the data in terms of registration and how people reacted and how much time they spend in one area or other. And I think that maybe on that stage, it will be interesting to include that section to either call the client or see how we can compile that more personal information, because in the end, that's what it makes the experience better or regular or super excellent. So I agree, Scott.
And I think
thank you.
that also
I'm taking notes.
I think that also helps to differentiate Eveland in the space, because again, if I understand, the business goal is to be the very best business event site on the Metaverse versus other places, that the more value we can add to all the stakeholders, the better off we are. I know it sounds like motherhood stuff, but again, it's going to help to differentiate us and also to, grow the brand.
Yeah, I agree. And also we can compile some testimonials that we can include in our webpage, which usually people look for those, right? When they don't know whether to approach or they have doubts, they go and see, and they like to read opinions of people who have got that experience before. So I think in all the sense, that is a nice way to get this useful information. So thank you. Okay. Any other comments or suggestions you may have? No. So I believe that today is going to be our last onboarding session as such, because I think we have covered pretty much all the different aspects, topics that came to our mind. If there is anything that you can think about that we are missing, we are happy also to take it and to elaborate additional information. But I think we have covered pretty much all the issues in terms of, again, the streaming, the connection, the backend steps, and so on. So still now, I think really the important thing is for you to, what you are doing, right, to practicing and to try to do it on your own and find those little details that can make, again, the big difference and make it really extraordinary. So if you can keep communicating us and giving us your feedback, that will be great. We definitely are here to improve it, to keep adding functionalities, to make it more simple and more efficient, as Cameron was saying, because there are things that well, for different reasons, of course, we didn't have neither the time or resources to maybe stop and develop more in depth, but we can go little by little.
Yeah, please don't misunderstand me. This is a very, let's say, usual process to start work with the things, then you have something which does not work or is not efficient enough from your perspective, and you bring it on the table, you discuss it and improve, etc.
Sure.
So please don't misunderstand.
No, not at all. I mean, feedback is essential. If we don't have feedback, we are dead. So we appreciate a lot.
And another thing, you offered all those videos of this sessions that we made, but in those sessions we also have used URLs, etc. Is there something like a central, let's say, manual or whatever, manual deck, where in 10 slides, not more than 10 slides, please, everything is summarized? For example, if you want to do this, check this site or that site. It's not creating new content. It's just to summarize what we all have already on the platform, just to have kind of glossary or manual where we have links, or maybe you showed, I think, some pictures, whatever, that are summarized in that manual deck. Because at the moment I have the problem, in which session did we see this or that? So I'm forced to look in all videos to find the right content that I'm looking for. That would be very, very helpful. As I said, very short. Please do not create new content. It's just to summarize the most important things in one deck.
Yeah, maybe something that comes to my mind, maybe that we could add on each of the videos, like a TOC, a table of content. So you can just click at the beginning and see.
For example, great idea.
A list, and we can put pretty much the timing, like how to create a banner. So minute 1.5. For instance, right? And you can go directly and click and see the content.
And another thing would be also integrate the videos, but this is something which I got on my list. Integrate several videos into the content management system. So if I am an eFland in rooms, so where is the video regarding rooms? Or if I'm on content management system and I'm in pavilions, where is the video regarding pavilions? Just one click, it's just a link, nothing else. Yeah, this would be great, but I will summarize everything. And I think Raphael asked me for a call. Maybe we can do it on Friday morning, as we are all in Europe. That would be great. And I would share my feedback, and you can think of, for example, give it to the other people from this call, to Scott, etc. Your decision.
Yeah, something we can do with all the improvements and everything that we do based on your suggestions, Cameron. We can make a list and also upload in the under the tutorials, and that way people can be aware of all the improvements that we have made. Okay, that's great. So any other little things that you want to share? Or and again, let us know, even though we are not planning, as I said, to have more onboarding sessions, if all of a sudden you find out something big, something that should be either developed or explained better, or that you have created something really amazing that you want to share with the rest and we can learn from you, let's get in touch with us. And we organize, because we are like a little family, all starting to learn how to do it. So I think it's a great opportunity to learn from each other. That's the whole idea. Okay.
Another thing. Another thing, also administration, very easy. Do you have a central contact for us that we can approach? Because I don't want to write you, I don't want to write Raphael or Joshua, just one central point where we can send in the future, for example, questions or whatever, and you distribute it to the right people.
Okay, I believe the email that we have at the end of presentations, which is info@ifland.com, that's the gathering of everyone. Everything goes to Lourdes, which is our head of operations. So still, I believe that exactly Julio is writing down this info@ifland.com. That's the generic email, but it goes everything to the person who is in charge of coordinating the various.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we also are deploying a help button or a contact button in the dashboard. But however, at the end of the day, it's going to be to Lourdes and her team. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's really good in getting everything and then distributing and letting us know. So yeah, you right there, no problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Super. So thank you. Thanks a lot to all of you, even though we are missing people here, but Scott and Cameron, you represent the others. So thanks a lot for your for being there day after day, for your great ideas, Scott, for Cameron thinking in how to make it better and more efficient. And every single feedback and comment counts on us in our aim to make IFLAN really, really the best. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to be on the. It's great to be on the journey.
Thanks to the team, and let's see. I hope we keep in touch. And as I said,
definitely.
content. Okay.
And thanks to Joshua for
Yeah.
your presentations. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks to
you.
Joshua.
No
Thanks to
problem, no problem.
everybody. Yeah. Thanks to
Thanks to you,
everybody.
thanks to you.
He has been very, very involved and really doing it, you know, with a lot of care. So thank you. Thanks all.
Okay.
All
Sure.
right,
Bye-bye.
thanks.
Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
You,
Later.
regarding a meeting with you, okay?
Okay. All
Thank
right. Okay, Rafael. Okay, bye.